Hi guys, welcome back to Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. I am your host, Savannah. We're doing another episode of Bikini Girl Chit Chat where I interview a fellow bikini competitor about her journey to the stage. So welcome to the show. Introduce your name, tell us where you're from, and how old you are.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Vatthauer. I am from Maryland. I live currently in Frederick, Maryland, and I am 28 years old. I will be 29 next month. So,
Oh, nice. Happy early birthday.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's feels late in the game, but it's okay.
I know. So where are you at? Are we prepping or are we off season right now?
I've been kind of quiet. I'm actually in prep. I just started though last week. It's
Okay.
not like I've been in prep for forever or anything, but I wasn't super loud about it. I didn't announce it or anything. But yes, I'm currently in prep after just a short off season. I think I was in off season for 8 or 9 months. So it wasn't that long. Previously, I've done a 2 year or like a year and a half to 2 year off season. This is quite a while.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, this is actually kind of my shortest one yet.
Okay. Cool. That's why I want to know where you're at. But let's start at the beginning. So where did this fitness journey start?
Okay, so I kind of it's been kind of a journey, a weird journey for me. So I kind of started back in 2018. That was when it all started. Before that, I maybe was a cheerleader in high school. I didn't come from a super athletic background. I was not into sports. I tried volleyball, I think, at one point in high school, just didn't work out for me. So cheerleading was the best thing that I got. Past that, the word diet made me angry. Like I was like, I hate all things that have to do with dieting, working out, like going to the gym was just not my thing. Like I really didn't like it. And when I met my husband, I was even like, God, why are you spending all this time at the gym? Like, this is annoying. Come back home, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God, it was so silly. We ended up moving to Pittsburgh in 2016 from our hometown in Arizona. So originally from Arizona, moved to Pittsburgh in 2016. And he ended up joining the military and he went away to the army. Like he was in boot camp for 5 months or so. And while he was gone, that's kind of where I picked up that gym habit. I was like living with my best friend at the time, and she was really into going to the gym. And she was like, "Here, let's start working out. Let's get your mind off of it." So I actually started going to the gym like pretty frequently there. Picked up that habit, kind of getting in there every day. She got me on the keto diet. Oh my God, it was crazy. Like I was like trying all these things. And when my husband came back, I was going to the gym consistently. He's like, "Who is this person? This is wild." Like, love it. So we started going to the gym together. And ever since then, we've kind of gone to the gym together. He's my gym friend. He's just gym buddy. We do it all the time. And from there, I think it was about a year or so where I was like, I think I kind of want to go a little bit further with this. So now we're in 2017, 2018 area. I had actually bought like Jesse's Girls. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jessie. I can't remember her last name, like blanking on me right now, but I picked up her ebooks for macro counting and for like a quick workout guide on like doing all this stuff. So I feel like started self-teaching at that point where I was like, I'm going to start learning about macros. I'm going to start learning about working out and all this stuff and try to like get into a little bit more of a groove. And I did until I was like, I think I want to take this a step further. And I think I want to start competing. By that time, I had started following a bunch of people on Instagram, a bunch of suit companies. And I was like, man, this stuff's so pretty. Like, I think I want to try it out. Why not? What's the problem? My husband was supportive of it. He was like, yeah, I mean, why not? Let's go ahead and do it. So by that time, I had to hire a coach because I was like, I am in way over my head. I have no idea. I was looking up posing videos on YouTube trying to learn how to pose. And I was like, what the heck am I doing? So I had hired a coach in 2018. And then that same year, I stepped on stage for the first time. It was kind of a whirlwind of events that happened, that it
Yeah.
was hired my coach. And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess like, let's just do it. And I did my first national show that year too. Like it was wild. It was crazy time.
Oh my
So
God. Okay.
yeah, pretty crazy. And from there, the rest is history. It's kind of been since
Okay.
then.
That's interesting that you came from the hating standpoints. Okay, why do you think that was? Like, why did you hate the gym? Why were you someone that was like, ew, dieting?
I think it kind of stemmed, I feel like a lot of people have this. I'm not like pulling this card or anything, but I did come from like an eating disorder background where I did end up going to therapy for some things where I was like anorexia type disordered thoughts and eating patterns. And I think that the word diet at the time was a huge trigger for me. And before competing, all of those things were dealt with. Everything was kind of dealt with beforehand because of course we all know that competing can be a band-aid for a lot of that stuff, and that's not really fixing the issue. But I think that that's kind of where it all stemmed, where I was like, ew, anything that has to do with dieting, anything that, once I had fixed everything, once I had kind of dealt with the background that I had,
Yeah.
I think the dieting thing was kind of a like taboo word for me. It was like I just don't want to deal with this. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to live it, all this stuff. But once you start looking at it as if you have goals or if you have just a way like things that you're working towards, to that word diet, it's subjective. It's not really, doesn't really.
Yes, I think a lot of people hate the word diet and like working out because they think that diet means suffering, or that means that they can't have all their foods that they like, that they can't go out to eat anymore. And they just think that it's just horrible. Like, oh, I could never diet. But every single person is on a diet. Like your
Exactly.
diet is just what you eat. You have a diet of this. That's what we just call it, like even in the
Exactly.
off season, you're following some type of diet. Even if you aren't following anything, that's a
Yeah.
diet. Like that's something. So I do think that trigger word is like, it is taboo because traditionally, like it can mean like just the food that you generally eat. And then also for us, it's like, okay, I am dieting. So now I am actively like cutting the calories.
Right. Right. And it's just so weird society nowadays too, for there's so many conflicting topics about
Yeah.
what diet to follow, what to do, blah blah blah. It is so confusing nowadays. So it's no wonder that, people like me at the point where I don't know anybody that's in the
Yeah.
bodybuilding thing, and you don't know anything about it, and you're just starting, and you're like, "Ugh, this is overwhelming. I don't want to deal with this. Like this is a lot." So,
Yeah, same thing with working out too. It's like no one at the beginning, it's like they think we're crazy because now we like love the gym and they're like, oh gosh, I can't work out. Oh, that's so
yeah.
hard. I just don't want to. And it's like, oh, I hate being sore. It's like I don't get sore. Like I sometimes, yes, but like not to the point where it's unmanageable. Like, yeah, like
Right.
a light ache now. It's so used.
Yes,
It's a
exactly.
little, a little soreness. Like it's not like we're just can't get out of bed, like our
Yeah.
legs. Like at the beginning, yeah, I was struggling and I was sore, but it's like now, once your body gets used to it, once your body gets used to dieting, like it doesn't have to be that way and it doesn't have to be scary, but it is like competitors. There's a lot of athletes that come from some type of eating disorder background and they do get scared if they do hear that word. But
Mhm.
bodybuilding is like a way to understand it. You can
Yeah.
learn your body and be like, oh my gosh, I look incredibly strong and I'm eating a ton of calories and I don't actually have to be suffering to look like the way I want, that I always wanted, but I can actually eat more to get this. So it's something that you do have, I think every female has to learn. Because
Correct.
like when you were growing up, or when I was growing up too, because we're the same age, like the skinny was in, the skinny look,
Yes.
the
Always
crap.
the skinniest that you could be. The more thigh gap, the better. And
Yeah,
I was definitely one of those people who thought that. And I do think over time, learning through bodybuilding also has really taught me to love my body at all stages. It doesn't even matter prep or off season, and I tend to err more towards the off season anyway. Now I really enjoy my body in the off season, and that's just taken so much time. That has taken years of my life to learn, and that I think is another thing that people don't understand in the beginning, is that this is not instant, like by any means. And there even was a couple of years where I had started competing and I was still kind of feeling like, man, I'm not feeling like what is happening with my body. Competing, you get super tiny, and then coming out of it, you're getting bigger and you're gaining weight and you're gaining muscle and you're gaining body fat. And, it's all of that stuff. And it takes so much time to learn to accept that and to actually embrace it, because that's what we need to do to get better if we want to keep doing this, and also to live a great life, and actually to like live a relatively stress-free life that has nothing to do with our bodies, when we've been conditioned to think about our bodies all the time. But bodybuilding's really given me that gift to embrace it at all stages. So yeah.
It is, but it is something to like, no matter how strong the body image you think you have, when you start bodybuilding, you got to go through.
Yeah.
Okay, what's it like to look the best you've ever looked before? Look amazing. Get so many compliments. Oh, yes, abs, lean, shredded, amazing. And then it's gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. So that's hard. It is hard. But then after you do it a couple times, you go, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to look like the off season. We're
Yeah.
not supposed to look stage lean in the normal lifetime. It is a competition, so we do have to get there. 2018, you said you did a national show and you did another show. How many shows did you do in that first year?
So the first year I just did 2 shows. So I did my first show. It was just a really tiny local show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I placed second out of 4 girls in my class. There's not very many people. And I mean, still, that's something to be proud of, as second at your first show. Like, that's amazing. And then a few months later, I went on to do NPC nationals in Miami. I guess it was in Miami at the time. And I got second call outs just in the 16th place, like just right after 15. So I was like right there. And that is also really incredible to feel like, wow, okay, I got second calls my first show. That's awesome. But that's kind of where that transitional phase where it's like, okay, do I want to keep going with this, or do I, what am I doing? And I chose, yes, I want to keep going with this. This is something that has really given me purpose in my life. That's really made me feel like I belong somewhere, in a sense that I feel like I can actually fit in, because I feel like I've always been on that cusp of like right on the outside, like just not ever really fitting in somewhere. And I feel like finally, like I have a purpose. So yeah, that is kind of where I kept going with that. And I did compete the following year, but there was a little bit of time in between those two.
In 2019?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. How many times did you compete on stage in 2019?
Oh man, 2019, I think I did 3 or 4 shows.
Okay, so like a full season.
Yes, it was a full season. And that one I did also do a national show. I did NPC nationals again. I think that year I also did North Americans in Pittsburgh. And then I took the whole following year off in 2020. And 2021, I think I had started prep in 2021. So I was about 1.5 to 2 years off season. And then 2021, I started prep and then competed in 2022. So that was 4 shows in 2022.
Okay. And that was, last show was when?
Last show was July 1st. So that was Universe that I did.
Okay. Did you do multiple national shows?
I did do Junior USA's first, and then I did Universe after that. So just 2 national shows that last
And
year.
how close were you on those shows?
So Junior USA's, I got second place. And Junior USA's, you have to get I think it was top 3 overall, top 4. So you had to win your class and then go and win top 3 or 4 overall. And then Universe was top 2 each class. So I placed second at Junior USA's. That was also a super small show. It was only 7 people in my class for Junior USA's, which is shocking considering like, one of the bigger ones. And yeah, only 7 girls in my class. And then for Universe, there was, I think, 28 girls or something like that. And I got 5th place. So yes, I did. I feel like I climbed the ranks a little bit throughout the years. It's definitely improved. And it just, that's where the time comes in, time to improve, time to, spend the time in the amateurs and kind of climb the ranks there.
Was that hard to go from second to fifth?
Yeah, I think it's always disappointing. But I also kind of had to look at the big picture. The class in Junior USA, and I'm not saying with the circumstances being different, maybe things would be different, but the classes were much different in size for both shows. So, I mean, it, I don't know if it would have been different. I don't know if I would have been worse at Junior USA's if I had a larger show or if I had a larger class of girls that I was competing with, or if I would have been about the same. But to put it into perspective, I mean, it's of course a little disappointing to drop places, but I didn't feel much about it.
Yeah.
It's more so like yeah, I got first call outs and I'm placing at least. Like that's incredible. That's something
Yeah.
to be proud of.
So when you decided to go into an off season, why was that your decision? Or like what made you stop your season and not like continue to like run the circuit and try again?
There's a couple of different reasons for that. um, First and foremost, I was exhausted. I had been prepping, I think, since December of 2021 or like November, December area. So I had been prepping for quite a while to go all the way. My last show be July 1st or so. So
Yes.
it was just a long time to be, and I felt like running my body into the ground there. Like I was doing a lot of cardio. I was really trying to get to like that, just where I needed to be. And so I was tired. I had spent half the year prepping. I wanted to spend time with my husband. I wanted to spend time. We were going to Italy also. Like I wanted to have the time to live my life. And that has become very important to me over the years as well, is to have that time, life season and off season. I love competing to death. Like it's really become something that's a part of me and like living the life and doing that. But I really do enjoy coming out of it and enjoying my life again. It's almost like when you have it's like distance makes the heart grow fonder where you spend a little bit of time away from things that you love and then you come back to it and it's like, wow, I miss this so much. So it was a part of like being exhausted and wanting to like live life a little bit. And also because I felt like I can see that these, competitions have become really competitive over the years in muscle size and conditioning. And it was just becoming very clear that I was maybe not going to keep improving if I had kept dieting and I had kept in my season. So I knew I needed to take a step back and kind of take a seat and start getting to work on building.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the hard part. It's because like when you know that you're so close, if you can get a pro card at second place and you're in fifth, like you're literally people away. And
Yeah.
now top two is pro. And now there's only two people technically in your class that are standing in your way, how it goes, depending, lots of things.
Exactly.
So you're so close and it's so hard just to be like, no, I want like an undeniable win. I still need to make improvements. It's going to be better for me long term. Just
Yep.
stop, even though like it's like we love it. We love the
Yep.
leanness. We love the shreds. Show day
Yep.
is so fun. Let's do another show. Let's do another show. It's addicting. I just got fifth. Can I get fourth?
Yes.
Can I get third? But if you're at Universe, you would have to continue your season to USA's,
Yep.
and nothing is ever guaranteed. And
Exactly.
that's the
Exactly.
thing where it's like your life is gonna keep going,
Yeah.
even if you're in prep. So you have to decide, okay, ultimate goals, big picture, short term. Short term, do I want to risk my health and like muscle and like just get this pro card and just go all out for another X amount of weeks, feel like crap, and make it happen? And maybe it won't, maybe it will. Spend more money, spend more time not building,
Yep.
lose muscle,
Exactly.
and who knows, where it's like, okay, let's live life, let's take a mental break, let's get refreshed, let's put on that size, let's do the time and have fun and like make you miss it. Because at a certain point when you get mentally like disconnected from the prep, it's not fun. Like
Yes.
it's not fun when you're exhausted and you've been prepping for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. And when you're done, like you kind of know it at a certain point, like you know better. It's like, okay, I feel like my body, you can really feel because you're, as an athlete, you know yourself inside and out. So you can really feel, oh man, like I just know it. Like you have that little internal feeling that's just like, we need a break.
I think that that's what a lot of newer competitors, I mean, I was at this point too, when I first started competing, where I was like, oh, let's just keep going. Like, it was like, what, I'm already here. Why wouldn't I keep going? But the thing is that like, you do have to realize as a competitor, this isn't a marathon, as like everyone always says, this is a marathon and not a sprint. And bodybuilding takes time, regardless of your, natural or enhanced status. Like, it doesn't matter, it still takes time. It still takes effort. You're still going to have to put in the work. And you can't do that when you're dieting and you're at these super low calories, you're at these super high cardio, you're putting a lot of energy into a lot of these things that you can't be putting into the muscle growth. Your body needs nutrients, your body needs food to grow and improve. And if you want to keep competing and you want to do well, you have to take it, you have to like take that moment to realize, check your ego and say, hey, I got to take a step back and I want to improve and I want to do better. Then you need to take the time. And that comes with weight, that comes with food, that comes with rest, that comes with a lot of different things that I don't think a lot of new competitors understand or can like fully understand until they actually do it. And they're like, wow, this is a really good idea. I really did need to do this.
Yeah. What was your, or like kind of what was your feedback the last time?
Always, always, always upper body, always upper body. I'm always lacking it. It's like, it's the hardest thing for me to hold on to. And it's been the hardest thing for me to match. I think and I also tend to come in a little soft in my lower body, which as a woman, that's very easy to do. So I do come a little soft in my lower body. And they said that upper body does need a little bit more size, which is very apparent. I can see that in a lot of comparisons, and especially even in first call outs, no matter what call out or what show it was in first call outs, I can see where I'm definitely lacking. So that has been the focus point for years for me to grow upper body.
Yes. Yeah. Or backwards. So mine's always lower. I feel like the beginning though, it was upper. And so I spent so much time switching my focus. At the beginning, it was everywhere. So I was going hard everywhere. And then it was very clear that it was like, I had nothing. I had little twig arms. And they were like, okay, you need to put something going on there because you look not good. There's no shape. There's no taper. Yeah. There's just a plank. You need to do something like that. So then the beginning, a couple, like, I don't know, a few years back, I was like upper body, upper body. Then we got the upper body. And so now it's like, okay, we pushed the upper body to the max. And the lower body was like, what about us? So
yeah.
It takes time because you're focused. Well, you can only focus on so many things. Like ideally we could focus on our whole body the whole time, but that's just not how it works. So you have to, every athlete has their strengths and their weaknesses. And it's something that you're going to continue like to fight through your whole journey. They're going to always want more and more and more and more and more, but there's always something that you can do too.
And I think that's like the beauty of this entire thing is that if you just had it all right away, what would you have to work for? Like that's the other thing to think about. And when you think about the big picture and you think about improving and, oh my God, this is taking so long. And like, why can't I just be there? Why can't I do this? I mean, think about it. If you were winning all the time, is that wouldn't get old to anyone? Like you have to have some losses to keep you going, to keep your fire lit, to keep your motivation going in you. And just know that like you're always going to have those weaknesses that you're going to have to overcome and you're going to have to build. And that's just what makes this so awesome. That's what makes this sport so cool, is that like the work's never done. The work is always continuing. It's ever evolving. You always have to be changing something, which can be frustrating, but I would say to use that frustration to fuel your fire more. It's just something that keeps you going.
Yeah, it's fun because like as you're evolving too in the off season or even in the on season, the sport is too. So, just because your physique type, because every body is different, every shape is different, maybe it's not winning for the last couple years, it doesn't mean that maybe in the next couple years there's going to be a less emphasis on bikini upper body, and then boom, suddenly you're the category. It's
Right.
it's weird, like how
Exactly.
it's changed. Because like when I first started in 2017, uh, there was not this much muscle. So now it's like, okay, a lot more muscle, and then they taper it down and they bring it up. And then
Yeah.
certain things were like lats, the Issa era of lat flares was
Oh my gosh, yes, that super hourglassy shape. Yep.
that was a thing. So I remember just doing wide lat pull down, wide lat pull, like, and the poses too. It was like flare your lat and that
Oh
front.
my gosh, I remember that. Yeah, like flaring the lat in like the front, and you're like, dang, I have pictures of me doing that too. I was
Yeah,
like,
on
dang, wow, I
stage, and
was
they're
really
like, this
doing
is relaxed, just that doesn't
Yeah.
look good anymore. And so now it's more like frontward,
Yeah.
facing, and Maureen, and so it's interesting how it's changing too, and it's fun as a competitor too, because it's like when you're in the amateur league, like it is a chase to get that pro status if that is ultimately your
Yeah.
goal. And some girls do have it easy, but I honestly think that it's the same thing, but if they turn pro quickly, they have to put in their time somewhere. So a lot of times they have to take these long off seasons as a pro before
Yeah.
they can start winning pro shows. So if it is taking a long time to get a pro card as an amateur, in my mind, you are preparing yourself for this pro level physique, so you won't have to take long off seasons as a pro. So then when you are a pro, you've put in the work, which
Yes.
is ultimately like bikini, there's a max. Like there is going to be a point where it's like no more upper body, no more glutes, no more quads. You can still build and grow and everything, but there is a max.
Yes, there will be a time, you outgrow a little bit of the standard, or you're getting a little too muscular. You're, edging right on that, like, your upper body is getting a little muscular. Like, yeah, upper body's super easy to be muscular in bikini. Like, it's a give and take, definitely, where you do have to pay attention, but it is really fun. It
Yep.
definitely is super fun.
Okay, so over the last couple of years, um, what has been some of your biggest mistakes that you made?
Over the last couple of years, my biggest mistakes, I would say, is, well, top of the list has to be comparing. When you get into the comparing game and you looking on social media and you're saying, oh my god, this girl has, I want to look like this girl, why can't I look like this girl has the biggest glutes, or she has, like, wow, her tines are so amazing, or she has like this great, she has great dense shoulders or something like that, why can't I just have that? And you start getting into this comparison game, and you're tearing yourself down, and you're, talking super negative. And I'm still guilty of this. Like, I still do this all the time. This is not something that I've outgrown, but I would say that I was much worse at it when I first started. And now, coming to accept how I am, things have gotten better, but that doesn't mean that it's gone. It just means that I can recognize that I'm doing it now and say, all right, hold on, let's stop. Let's, redirect mind a little bit and try something else. But that's number one on my list, I think, is the biggest mistakes that I've made, because I definitely have stood in my way a lot of times, comparing myself to people that were even I would look to see who's competing at the show. I would go and say, oh, she's going to do this show. Oh no, I got to look better. And it would just ruin me. Oh my God. It was like the worst mood ever. I would be so upset. I'd cry, like, all these, you just get into these things, and
Yeah.
that's not what this is for. This is for you as a competitor and as a person, to make yourself better. You aren't there to, I mean, of course you want to impress judges, but that's the name of the game. But this is about improving yourself and being your best self, and, making those changes from your last presentation or whatever. It's not about being better than someone else, or that girl that's going to be in your class, or that girl that's competing in the same show. It's not about that. So I would say that number one mistake, don't ever make that, and just focus on yourself, focus on you, and love. It's going to sound super, love yourself for who
Yeah.
you are, because there's no one else like you. And I mean, that other girl might be looking at you going, oh my God, she's competing in the same show as me. she looks so good. Oh my God, that suit color looks so good on her. Her posing so much better than mine. Like that girl could be comparing herself to you and you would have no idea because you're sitting there tearing yourself down over it. So that's number one. I'd say number two would be that, you really should enjoy the time that you're going to get in the off season. I pride myself on my off season so much now because I love them. I love getting to put in the work in the off season. And I think that that's underrated in a lot of, especially women. And I hope I'm not speaking for everybody at this, but I think especially for women, we're told to look, obviously we're told to look a certain way, or we're pressured to look a certain way. Don't get too fat, don't get too skinny, don't get this or that. And I feel like it's really difficult for us to go into an off season and be okay with gaining weight and not looking super shredded and maybe not having abs or things like that. But my point is to enjoy and really embrace off season because we need that to be our best selves, essentially. We need weight to, like I've said before, we need food and weight to gain muscle to make improvements. And how are you going to do that if you're just staying skinny all the time? You're just dieting all the time. You're on low macros and high cardio, like I just said before. Yeah. And so embrace it, really enjoy it, and really just get the most out of it. Those are my biggest things.
Yeah, I think it takes time. I feel like everyone has to make that mistake of like, I've wasted off seasons mentally not enjoying it. And the only thing that I was focusing was like, when can I prep? When can I prep? Oh, I can't wait to get back. Oh, I don't want to be, I hate how I look. I just want to be lean again. I want to be lean. And just you obsess over those stage shots. And then you feel so bad about yourself because you have a little bit of body fat and now you still look amazing. You look just, and it's crazy. But what kind of snapped me out of this was realizing that I felt amazing on the way down. And when I hit that weight on the way up, it just felt wrong. But I was like, no, remember when we were 8, 10, 12 weeks out and we barely started, maybe we dropped a little bit of weight, but we were strong. We felt good. We are the same weights that we are 8, 10 weeks post show. It was 10 weeks before a competition, then 10 weeks post show. You're the same weight. How is it different? How is it different? It's only different because you saw it go down to up instead of you see it starting to trickle down. Yes. So like, that was one thing that I was like, no, if I felt good on the way down in my diet at this weight, if I'm at this weight again, and it's like, it should be the same because it's like, I'm pretty much the same way in all my off seasons. It's like very similar, like weirdly similar. It's odd, very odd. It's so weird. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but it's like, you should not feel bad as an athlete to have body fat. Like, you shouldn't feel guilt. You should not, even if it's your fault. And maybe you did eat too much, but
absolutely. We all do that. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, it took me this long literally to not binge after show. And that happens. It totally does. It happens to the best of us. It happened to me years and years, over and over and over again. I mess up like off season after off season. Like, it just happens. And you have to learn that it's just not the way to do it. And if competitors, I really do think that competitors should have a coach coming out of competitions. They really, it's really been a game changer to have somebody that's been super, super helpful and super, I don't want to say strict, but very, very structured on off seasons and coming out and having that accountability and having that person to kind of like keep your mind right. Because of course our brains are playing tricks on us. It's like, it's the whole thing coming out of it. And just to have that somebody that's guiding you through that process to being completely out of contest prep, you really need that. I think that's really essential. So that also really helps out.
It does. And I've always had a coach through every single off season too, good ones, bad ones. Like, you know, like, or from not coaches, but like good off season, bad to off season.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, it's not fun to check into a show 1 week after you looked amazing and be up 10 pounds.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I've done it many times. It's not fun.
But there's no need to feel ashamed of that
No,
because
it happens.
it happens, and you're
Yeah.
still showing up for yourself to check in with your coach
Yeah.
and
Yep.
to hold yourself accountable and to actually put in the effort
Yeah.
into, you know, coming out of that safely and happily and healthily.
Yeah.
So there's no shame in checking in and going, yo, I'm like 10 pounds up and I'm real watery, I'm really inflamed, blah, blah, blah. That's what a coach is there for. You withholding that information from them and literally not checking in is you just staying in that area of not getting any better. So no shame checking in after doing or anything.
Because it's, you know, it's data. And when again, looking back now, all this data, all these check-in points, even a week after, like months after, when you like don't have prep goggles anymore, you're like, I looked incredible. I looked so amazing.
Yeah, I was like, what? You think about like, man, I was mad at this time. Like I was mad looking at myself and I hated it. And then I'm looking back and I'm like, I looked good. What am I crying about?
Right. You weren't depleted anymore. You just like filled out everywhere. So yeah, a little distension, but it was like you still had lines everywhere. You still had a six pack and you were still like lean, you know?
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like you can in the off season you slowly see like the lines fade and everything. And some off seasons I've gained a lot really quickly and then just maintain that. Some it's been progressively, but it all gets about to the same point. And then it's just kind of a recomp kind of thing. And now I understand that it like you have no idea how critical like the rebounding. Like I swear to you, I had to push so hard this last prep because of like 2 preps ago. I was like, I swear to you, I'm getting off this body fat that I put on after that one show. I was like, I swear that on my glutes right now. I said, I bet you it was that time where I gained like 10 pounds in a week. I said, that's why I have to do a lot of cardio. So after that happened, I was on the Stairmaster and I was doing 2 hours on the stairs and I was like, I'm never doing this again. So I told myself, I was like, we have to keep our shit together after the show, no matter what, because we just don't want to do this amount of cardio again.
Exactly.
I will do it, but if I can just control it, just
if you can make yourself, if you can make it life at all easier for yourself, then yes. Yeah. That is the other thing is to just, you have to look at the big picture too. Like if you're looking to compete more and you're looking to do this again, the big picture is that this is all temporary, you know, all this feeling is just temporary. And I learned a lot like from different people throughout my last prep too. Like, I don't know, I'm allowed to say, but Mark Tominek from Tominek Trained, like he was one of my biggest, like I listened to his podcast on coming out of prep and like going into an off season. And that literally was a game changer for me. Like that, like something snapped in my brain where I was like, oh, I shouldn't go out and binge. I shouldn't do all this stuff. You know, I really need to like put priority on coming out of the show so that I can, one, be happy and comfortable, and two, so that I can actually like be able to prep again relatively soon if I want to, you know. That there's a lot of helpful information from a lot of people out there that are, you know, coaches, that are competitors, even that have learned things down the line, that this is that are very helpful. And off season is very important for us as competitors. People can't just keep prepping, and they can't just keep the general competition community cannot do that. So off seasons are important, and it's important to take them seriously.
Okay, so again, like these are like little things that I didn't realize until I realized it. So when I was eating like 1,000 calories, I thought it was like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to how I was. Like I'm super depleted. Like I deserve to just be full, right? But percentage wise, what really helped me was thinking about it in terms of numbers and percentages. Like I understand in a cut, we want to go slow and steady, right? We don't want to go super hard to like lose all the muscle. So in the reverse, it should be about the same too. And your body trying to imagine it in a different case. Like even if you were in an off season, imagine doubling your calories.
Yeah. Yep.
Like so if you were at 2,500 and one day you were just like, I'm going to do 5,000 today.
Yeah,
It
that's a really good way to look at it too. I think it's just like you can't be
yeah,
one extreme or the other. Like your
yeah,
body does not work
yeah,
like
exactly. So when I started realizing it, I was like, oh, oh, so yeah, maybe it is one protein bar that has 200 calories, but percentage wise, if you were eating only 1,000 calories going into that show, that's like a 20% increase right there.
yeah, that's a lot. That's
It
quite a
sucks. It's
lot.
going to suck. But
Yeah.
if you slowly do it and slowly do a little percentage increase instead of bend your face off and do 1,000 calories going into the show, and then here's a 5,000 calorie, we're talking like your body can't handle that. It's going to shock your system. Like, so I
Yes.
always try to think about it if I was at an off-season calories and I tried to do the same thing, how would that look like?
Yeah. How would that translate? And yeah, and how would your body handle it? Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a great way to think about it too. And I mean, I mean, just even thinking about the physical problems of doing all that too is like,
Yeah.
while it sounds great to just go back to how you were afterwards, I don't know about anybody. I had like, this is where I found out what heartburn feels like. Like I've never
Oh,
had heartburn in my life. And then I went out and it was my like one of my shows in like 2019 where I just went out and ate a bunch of shit. I don't know what I was eating. And then at the end of the night, I was like, am I having a heart attack? Is this, what is this? That's not good. That's,
yeah. Yeah.
that's not a
Because
way
it's
to
like all the
feel.
sugar and all like the carbs and the fat, and you're just like,
What's
oh God.
happening? Yeah.
Um, so in
Bad.
2019, I had a bad time. And I immediately booked a vacation the Sunday after my show. Not a smart idea anyway. I know better. But I was like,
So,
oh my God, I'm gonna be so lean. Like I'm gonna it's perfect time to be on a beach in bikini and to celebrate. I'll get to eat whatever I want. It's not
oh
how it
my
works.
gosh.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so the show did not go as planned. Ended up not placing. It was horrible. Almost wanted to quit the sport.
Yeah.
Next day, hop on a plane. Didn't want decided I'm gonna not work out this whole week because I'm mad. I'm gonna
Oh,
not work out this whole week and I'm not gonna follow a single macro this whole week. And I'm going to literally eat whatever I want, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, eat out every meal.
yeah.
Night one, I go to bed. It's 4 or 5 p.m. My stomach is like a pregnant woman. It's like so hard. It
Yeah.
cannot go down. And I'm just laying there like
Oh
a
God.
on the bed. And I'm like, I can't.
Brings me back.
I'm like, I am like, I'm so miserable. I'm so uncomfortable. I was like, this was the stupidest thing ever. And
Yeah.
it's gone. All that hard work was gone. And literally like maybe one day, 2 days. It's just your body
All
is
the
so
inflammation and all the water, it feels so much worse than
yeah.
anything on this planet. And to just think about that, I don't know how it took me so long to figure it out, but
I
it
know it's weird.
took me a
It's
long
like
time because I have a huge sweet tooth too. Like I will go out and I will just like, oh, anything in sight. Like I love sweets. Like I'll
yes.
die on that hill, but it's taking me this long to go, wait, we need to prioritize other things because I don't want to feel like trash. Like I actually want to be able to enjoy this time and actually like soak in the moment and live my life and not like be super gassy and let's super constipated and want to throw up and like have heartburn and have trouble breathing and have swollen ankles and all these things that I just don't want to deal with, that it just takes the second longer to just
Yeah.
stop, breathe, think, and think about the big picture about what you want to do with this. If this is what you want to do, you want to keep going, well, then put to practice everything that you've learned, like keep the discipline, keep it all the way through, and just like think about it and think about the future that you can have in this. So, yeah.
What do you do for work?
I currently I work at the National Institutes of Health. I do tuberculosis research. I'm not a scientist, but I'm like a research associate. So I do a lot of bench work. I do a lot of like drug discovery with tuberculosis, and we're also like furthering drug trials and things like that. So a very sciencey job. And right now a lot of my stuff is data entry and work from home. So I do have a lot of a desk job right now, but when we have studies and we're like going, I am in a lab, I'm on my feet a lot, but yeah, for now data entry, boring science stuff.
Okay. I always just get curious to see how that works. And okay. So desk job and lab. Okay. I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't have,
yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like a lot of like the study, I'm like the arms of the operation. So a lot of the study stuff is carried out in a lab.
yeah.
I'm working with tuberculosis directly. And then a lot of my desk job is data entry. So I'm working in Excel, I'm putting in a bunch of stuff, I'm organizing data, I'm, whatever we've collected data wise, I'm organizing it in different ways for scientists and things like that. So it's two separate things.
Yeah. Like your bodybuilding world and your work world seem like almost polar opposites.
They are. And I feel like that's what has been over the years something that I've thought about too is that I started in animal medicine. I'm first and foremost a vet tech. And so I worked throughout like the beginning part of my bodybuilding career. I worked in an emergency animal practice where I was just running around all day long. I was, 12-hour shifts a day, 3 or 4 days a week. Like I was really busy. And so it was, bodybuilding was like my escape type of thing. And it is now too, but now I think I have a little bit more energy and time to put into it because I have a more stable, like Monday through Friday job than I did before. So it's very different, but the work is still different. And over the years, I've kind of felt more like fitness and bodybuilding is pulling me towards that. And so I'm actually trying to go through with getting a personal training certification and kind of look into more personal training things than I am more of the sciencey stuff. I mean, I am a science person at heart. I love science, I love medicine, but I feel like fitness is kind of pulling me that way a little bit more over the years.
Yeah. It's hard because like when you love something so much, you're like, how can I get this feeling every single day? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I,
And I also think like there has to be more to my life than this right now. Like there has to be something else. So I'm gonna just tip my toes in a little bit and see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, that's my next big project that I'm kind of working on is right
that's
now.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun because like you can take this as a hobby, you can try it out, you can turn it into a career. There's like unlimited avenues for types of works inside of fitness and health and coaching, nutrition, and posing and literally expediting shit. Like there's so many different
Exactly.
possibilities. Like there's a
Ex-
lot of things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So right. And I like it. I like getting to discover it more and more. It's been fun.
Okay. So what else? Like last piece of advice. So things that maybe you wish you would have known at the beginning of your journey, or just advice to someone that's thinking about starting a fitness journey.
Well, I mean, biggest pieces, I think, a biggest takeaways, I think, from this whole thing is that fitness is not immediate. So that's number one. Just always remember that this is going to take a lot of time. No matter what you do in fitness, no matter what you do in competing, it's going to take time and you're never going to be instantly gratified by anything. So don't go into it expecting to get something immediate and then getting upset and frustrated when it doesn't happen immediately. Just take your time, put in the work and enjoy the process. That's my number two, is to enjoy all the processes, no matter what process it is. If it's competition prep, if it's off season, if you're just getting in it, you're just getting started, really enjoy it, embrace it, learn everything that you can. If you have a question on something, look it up, Google it, ask somebody, try to like immerse yourself in that and try to learn everything that you can from anything and anyone that you can within reason. Obviously, you don't want to be like, oh, 10 biggest butt workouts of 2019, whatever like those stupid articles are. But like anybody with credibility, you want to be learning from, you want to be embracing and actually putting it into practice and kind of just enjoying the whole process. And I had a number three and it was right there, but it was enjoying the process is just the biggest thing. I think it's been a long journey, but just learning to enjoy the process rather than the outcome is very important.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully we'll see you earn your pro card this year, right?
I really hope so. That would be really fun. But again, I'm not upset if it doesn't happen. I mean, of course, that's what I'm working for, but it's just the journey and the process that's the best part. And I'm excited to see you. You're really close to your show, aren't you? That's exciting.
Weeks from today, I get to
Ah, I've
be
been really excited watching your journey like to switch. I've loved watching it. I really have. And I think that this is going to be really, really fun. And I'm like
yeah.
waiting in suspense because it's just like it's always so fun
I
to see.
know it's fun,
So
yeah, and I mean, it's scary taking a change, and I don't know, it's just like I don't like letting myself be stagnant, and I don't like asking what if. Like if I had like it really bothers me. Like I'm like, I have time, I have nothing else to lose. Like it's fun to try things that are scary. And that's how I got into, NPC bikini. It was the
yeah.
same exact process. Ooh, that looks fun. I think I might like that. And it was the same thing. What
Okay.
is
Yeah.
what is this league? I think I might like that. Okay, well, why don't we try it? And just okay, yeah, I signed up for the first show. So I know
Mm.
it's probably too soon, and I like, but it's better to do it when you're not ready than to wait and never do it. So we're gonna do it and see what happens, and it'll be
Yeah.
fun. So I'm
Well,
excited.
I've loved all of your informationals about the differences too. I really appreciate that. Even if it's something that I'm not going to do, I appreciate seeing the differences because no one knows what that is in the United States, really. So,
I
yeah.
still don't know. I still don't know. Like I know I'm going to my show, but I'm like, I really don't know. I did as much research as there was on the internet, but there's just not a lot of information. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll find
Well,
out.
I'm super rooting for you. I'm really excited and I can't wait for you. This is going to be really
Thank
exciting.
you. I know. Okay. So I'll be cheering you alongside too
Oh,
this season. So tell us where we can follow you online if we want to follow your journey this year.
yeah. So Instagram, I'm Allie Vatthauer, ALLYVATTHAUER. And that's pretty much my only spot. I don't have two accounts, so it's just Allie Vatthauer, and that's me. That's my whole
Okay.
life.
Final question of the day. Are you
Yeah.
team cupcake? Are you team protein shake?
Ooh, I'm gonna say Team Cupcake.
Okay. Yes, this is my person. I love when people say team cupcake. When protein shake, I'm like, oh gosh, you're one of them. I'm like,
Give me
okay,
that cupcake.
yeah. If you could be a cupcake, what would you be?
Ooh, birthday cake cupcake. Oh my gosh, put some birthday cake icing on that and the little candle in there. That's for me.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your story today.
Thank you, Savannah, for having me. I really had a lot of fun talking to you.
Good.